Hey, what's happening, guys? I hope this past week you've been challenged in your prayer life as you've worshiped the Lord. You know, as you think about discipling someone using this particular model, you've got to not only be intentional about sharing the gospel, but you also have to teach others how they can do that. Now, for me, you know, you would think it would be super simple since I'm in ministry to share the gospel with unbelievers. But the fact is, I'm not around unbelievers a whole lot, right? I serve with people who know Jesus, or at least I hope they do. And then I'm spending time with church members all the time who know Jesus Christ as well. So I've got to be very intentional about focusing in on who I'm going to reach with the gospel. And when you get to that portion in No Sweat Discipleship, what you're really doing is you're asking yourself the question on a normal basis: who, what, when, and where? Who am I going to reach with the gospel? What am I going to do to reach them? When am I going to do it? And then where am I going to do it? Now, when you think about the who, it's very, very important to kind of have something in your mind that will help you strategically think about your life. And what I've done in the past, and what we've also shared in the past, is looking at where you live, where you work, and where you play. Now, when you think about it, you can think about it in the context of like 3 boxes or 3 buckets. This is really a bucket. Doesn't look very impressive. There you go. So there's your bucket. But this is where you live. So you're going to write, okay, here's where I live. So I need to think about my neighborhood, right? I need to think about my home. Is there anybody in my house who doesn't have a relationship with Jesus? And then my neighborhood, anybody who lives around me or down the street who doesn't have a relationship with Jesus. And what I want to do is be very specific. I want to write those individuals' names down. But then after I get, some names in this bucket, then I want to go to where I work, which will be another bucket, right? So I'm just asking the question. And I know this doesn't necessarily, work for me because everywhere I work, they're believers, right? But you got to think about where you work. God saved you so that you could share the message of Jesus with others. And God has put you in the position where you are so that you could be a missionary there. So you need to think about where you work, who you work with, who you're going to spend time talking to. As I was discipling someone using this particular method, the individual said, you know what, Levi, I kind of work by myself, so I don't really have much interaction with people. So I asked him just to think about his week, think about his month, and really ask God, who is it that's going to be in my path that I can share the gospel with? And the amazing thing is that he chose someone who actually comes to his workplace and delivers materials. And he wrote the guy's name down, and he was intentional about sharing the gospel. But it all happened when he began to think intentionally about his workplace and who he could share the gospel with. But then the third bucket is just what we would say the bucket of play. And when I use the word play, I'm talking about like extracurricular activities, right? So for me, we've got 4 children. I got to think about where they go to school, think about some of their friends' parents, think about where they're playing sports. So whenever we kind of have a sporting event, I want to keep my eyes open. Who is going to be there and who is there who doesn't have a relationship with the Lord? And I want to get to know those people, right? I want to be intentional about finding out their names and begin to pray for them so that I will be intentional about sharing the gospel. So here again, I'm just writing the names down. So when you're working through this and you're thinking, okay, who am I going to share the gospel with? Just allow this image to kind of be beneficial for you in helping you think through that strategically. Now tonight, your community group leader is actually going to provide for you a little sheet of paper that's going to help you with this. And man, I hope that you and I don't just say we want to make disciples and kind of use it as a slogan, but we're actually serious about doing what Jesus has called us to do. So get after it.